Be honest with yourself. Are you going to finish that? When you tell me in the comment section of my video that you've never made an animation before, but you're going to start making an animation, it's going to be a 30-minute long fight scene, I think you should be honest with yourself. First of all, why does it need to be half an hour long? It's way harder to hold someone's attention span for half an hour. It takes a lot of work to build enough ideas to actually make an animation last for half an hour. Why not make it 3 minutes instead of 30 minutes? Typically what filmmakers do in their careers is they start with a very short film. And then the next film they make a little bit larger and a little bit larger and a little bit larger. And they work their way up to a large film. They work their way up to, say, a feature film. That's very typical because, first of all, they have to prove that they can do it. Second of all, if you've got a long runtime for your film, you have to sustain the audience's attention throughout that runtime, and that's a challenge. Also, from a production point of view, you're just not aware of the amount of endurance it will take to make a 30-minute animation. I'm not saying it's impossible, but realistically, that takes a lot of resources, either in the form of time from the author filmmaker or money by enlisting the help of a team, that it might be more prudent to start with a small proof of concept, let's say. If you've got a big concept for a 30-minute animation, you could pluck out one scene from that concept and you could make that into its own short film, right? And then you can use that as a kind of stepping stone to jump off to make the whole full concept. And that can help you the rest of the way there. My film teacher actually gave me this tip back when I was in college, and I found it was the best tip I've ever received as a filmmaker for filmmaking advice. I had this big concept. It was set in this steampunk world with these two Goliaths, these mechanical dreadnoughts that were fighting each other in these big battles. I thought, instead of having troops on the ground, what if they all occupied these giant fighting robots? And I would start in the cockpit with the captain, commanders, and there would be this whole hierarchy structure. And it was really complex. I was still in college. I wasn't a really experienced filmmaker by any standard. And my teacher said, do you have one character you could focus on for that? Why don't you just depict the experience of one character that's perhaps moving through this giant structure? And that's what I did. And the film is called Goliath, and it's about 3.5 minutes long. And I found that those 3.5 minutes took a lot out of me. It took a lot of work to make that short film. And because I worked really hard on it, and because it was a manageable size, like I had brought down the scope to a more personal level, I found that I could bring more quality to the animation. So the shorter your runtime, the higher the quality you'll be able to sustain throughout that runtime, the higher the quality you'll be able to make that short film. So that's something to consider as well. Do you really want to make half an hour of very bare bones animation that doesn't have a lot of attention to detail in it? Or would you rather make a very small runtime film that has a lot of attention to detail, that's really got some noteworthy animation in it? If you were sitting in the audience of a theater, what would you rather watch? Would you rather watch a film that's half an hour long, that's dragging throughout the runtime, where you're looking at your watch, you're just thinking, when is this thing going to be over? And there's very sparse detail. There's not a lot to really fixate on or chew on as an audience member. Or would you rather something that's short, sweet, memorable, and full of richness, full of artistic richness? The way you can get yourself off to a really good start as a filmmaker is to pack a punch with a really short, concise film that's just bursting at the seams with quality and vigor and ideas. It doesn't go into loads of unnecessary detail. It hints at a wider story. Think about how you can do that. How can you hint at a wider story in your animation? Every filmmaker should have a relationship with their audience. An audience grounds you as a filmmaker. And this is why people who have not yet made a film, there's no dialogue that they're entering into with their audience. And so everything is done in their heads, and they're tends to not be a very much consideration for the audience because they don't have an audience yet. I think filmmaking is relative to the audience it's created for. And even for repeat filmmakers, people who have been making lots of films, if you spend a long time away from your audience, before long, you may lose orientation because you lose connection with who you're making it for. And the longer your runtime is, the longer your production will be. And that means with a long production, you're spending more time away from your audience. You're not engaging with your audience. So you're more likely to lose touch with your audience, and that could affect your film. I've experienced this myself. When I was making Immersion, it took me like 2 years to make Immersion. And during that time, I started to doubt if people would really resonate with my film because I wasn't talking to people about it, because I was trying to keep everything under wraps. I was trying to keep everything kind of a secret from my audience. I feel like ideas have expiry dates on them. My idea for Immersion, it had a kind of a conservationist message, right? An environmentalist message. And I still resonate with that today, but I don't resonate as strongly as when I first had the idea. I was really excited about the idea 2 years ago, but try being excited about an idea for 2 years. You're naturally going to lose excitement for an idea. It doesn't matter if that idea is like the best idea ever. You're going to lose excitement for it. And it's easier to make a film when you're excited about it. I've now adjusted my strategy a little bit. So I'm making films within that time period where I'm still excited about the idea. I managed to do it with Immersion because I think the idea has a lot of staying power. But it's something to be aware of. Ideas have expiry dates. You don't want to linger too long on a single idea for a film. So those are some ideas if you are a first-time filmmaker and you've been telling me, Howard, I want to make a 20-minute long film or a 30-minute long film as my first film. I'm actually not trying to crush your dreams with this. I'm actually trying to give you advice, and my advice would be, if you can, break it into a series. Break it into a little mini web series. See how the pilot episode does. Adjust your story based on audience feedback, right? If you can make multiple short films, kind of like modular films. In engineering, there's modular reactors. So you can either create one massive nuclear reactor that powers like a huge amount of homes, or you can make 5 small modular reactors and you adjust as you go. You learn from the first one, you optimize for the second one and the third one, and each modular reactor is an opportunity to learn more, to adapt more, and to optimize and make it better.
Nuclear. It's pronounced nuclear.
Whatever.
So I got that idea from engineering, but it's the same thing with short films. You can have these short modular films, small concepts that you can iterate upon. You can start engaging in a regular dialogue with your audience over them. What do you think, Ginny? Do you have anything you want to add? She's just looking for a treat. She'll do anything for a treat. What do you think, Ginny? Would you sit through a half-hour short film? I think she would if it was a film about food. Well. You've made it this far into the video and it looks like I've run out of stuff to say, but we still have more footage of me working on this shot. So I'm gonna let this recording play out with some salsa music because I love salsa music and it's my channel and there's nobody here to stop me. Así que disfruta el resto del video. Adiós.
Arrebatado, tú me tienes arrebatado. Otra copa me hace pensar que algún día vas a regresar. Oye, arrebatado, tú me tienes arrebatado. Otra botella me hace creer que si te llamo vas a volver, pero no vuelves. Pensando en lo que podría haber pasado si te tenía si te tenía a mi lado, baby girl. Me dejo llevar por los recuerdos y el alcohol. Cada trago sabe a lo que fuimos los dos. Las ganas de verte me están traicionando. Te veo en la gente, pero no es lo mismo. No, no, no. Dime si en tu cama suena esta canción, baby. No, no. Si alguien te besa, te acuerdas de mí. Te acuerdas de mí. Arrebatado, tú me tienes arrebatado. Otra copa me hace pensar que algún día vas a regresar.